Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on November 9th, 2022. And I want to start off, I'll introduce the people who are here in a few minutes. I want to start off with a complaint I've had before. I run a group on Facebook for recruiters. Gavin is a regular. I was going to compliment Gavin today because he's posted some really good comments on it. It's called Recruiters Online. There's tons of members and they discuss all kinds of things about recruiting, okay? But there's inveterate people who keep criticizing me all the time. And here's their latest thing. I like going on Twitter and seeing what actual candidates, people who are job hunters, say about recruiters, and I post them in the group, and there's people saying, "Oh, this is too I don't like this. It makes me feel bad." I'm not joking. I can quote those things, okay? Again and again and again, they're complaining about it. And you know what? I think it's good to know what people think is wrong with your business. So number one, you don't do it yourself. Then you go to your clients and say, look, I know that these are the pitfalls in recruiting. These are the things people don't like about recruiting, and I'm not gonna do them. You can trust me because I know, okay? If you don't go out to the grassroots and survey them, how are you supposed to know, okay? And what's the third thing I said is good? Yeah, they're funny. Okay, because those people on Twitter say all kinds of things that you wouldn't normally hear. I can't even repeat what they say on this show because we're a little too family oriented. At least we used to be. There used to be lots of kids who watched the show with their parents, right? When we were in audio. Okay, but anyway, and then Jerry used to censor me all the time. So we don't usually swear here, but they do on Twitter, and it's real funny, okay? And here's the final point about that. There's a million groups for recruiters. You don't like what I do, go somewhere else, okay? Is that fair, Gavin, what I just said?
Absolutely.
You can disagree. On this show, everybody, you can disagree. But Gavin agrees with me, okay? What about David M Marr, who's disembodied? What about you?
I think you should post your mind and speak the truth, and it's good to know what people are saying about.
Speak the truth to power. I agree. Okay, now those recruiters are nobody. They're nobodies, but I'm delivering. I'm not speaking. I'm delivering the message from the people who have to deal with guys like us. Okay, everything about recruitment.com. Raise your hand. Gavin Johnston. He is a recruiter, but he's also a recruiting trainer. And he has lately, people ask questions on the Facebook groups, on my group, on other groups. And he's taken some real time to give detailed answers lately. Maybe we'll get to some of them on the show. I was very impressed, okay? I said, geez, he's taken a lot. Now, maybe it was just, a self-serving, boy, if I give up somebody a good answer here, somebody's going to see it and they're going to want to use me as a coach. But he doesn't say, hey, I'm a coach and this is my fantastic answer, come to me. He doesn't. He just gives the answer. But I know he's a coach. And I was very impressed, okay, that he would take the time and give reasonable advice, okay? And David M Marr, he's a corporate recruiter, okay? So there you go. He likes to be disembodied. He's in Chicago. What else can I tell you? Oh, now he's going to show us himself for a second, like a ghost that appears. Okay.
Yay,
what's
there.
that blue background? I got to tell you, that's a very ugly background. Okay. Yeah, and you know what? I know something about social media. And look who's here.
Yo, folks.
This guy usually makes noise. As soon as before I can say and introduce the show, he's usually there making noise, but he came late today. Okay. MarioTheRecruiter.com. Okay. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. You're and Ernie, foodindustryrecruiter.com. Mario, did you screw up your sound again? It's not as good as it's been lately.
Wait. I'm trying to fix it again.
I'll have to wait for Ivan to show up again. Okay, here's an important question. And you know what? They always complain when I talk about grooming in the recruiting groups too. This comes from the Wall Street Journal. It's not a radical paper, okay? Here's the, are crop tops good for an interview? It says lots of people, these young people are coming to the office for the first time after, they've been off for the pandemic and they're wearing crop tops, so there's a question. Is that good? Is it suitable? And there's no stopping it, is it was sort of my takeaway from it. If you have a candidate, is it okay if she wears a crop top to an interview? Gavin, you first.
Hey man, I'm just gonna say one thing. Bloody lucky that it's warm enough that they can walk around like that, because around here you wouldn't be walking around in a crop top. That's for sure.
They work inside.
Exactly.
That's the point, Gavin. Hopefully they've got
they take the
heating,
clothes off
although in
there?
Europe you
Ooh.
might not have it very, very long. I don't know, right? With the
No,
war.
crop tops are big here also. Yeah, it depends on the job. If you're going to try and apply for a high level job, maybe that's not the best way to dress.
Okay. What if you don't have an athletic body? Is that a factor?
Or
Don't answer. Don't answer.
no,
Ernie,
let's not go down that
crop
path.
tops, okay. Ernie, crop tops.
Nah, no.
Would you tell somebody if would your client come back to you and say, Ernie, I mean, I didn't want to see her navel. Okay. What would you say?
Oh, you just sort of, you got to coach them at first. I mean,
No,
but-
what are you going to say? Do you actually say, hey, ma'am, no crop top at my interview, okay?
no, I don't know. I don't know if you go out that far, but just, you got to tell them that they need to dress professionally.
You
go
do
there.
take, you do make a point of saying that?
Yeah, you got to tell them, sometimes you got to be their mother or father. You got to be their parent, tell them, and they,
Okay.
cause they'll come back and they'll say, you got one shot, make it look good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gavin, are you with them on that? Do you tell people what they should wear? Do you warn them?
I'm lucky
This
that
is professional.
most of my interviews are by phone.
Okay.
So there isn't that much of an issue when it comes
Okay,
to
okay,
clothing. I would say less than 5% of all interviews that I've done in the last 10 years or 15 years have been face to face.
And 99% of your candidates are men. Is that fair?
No.
Oh, really?
Okay.
They all wear derbies.
No, I'm surprised. Okay. Okay, MarioTheRecruiter.com. Crop tops, okay?
Turn on your microphone.
Yeah, okay, he doesn't want to answer. Okay.
Yeah, if she's hot in it, I agree with you. It'll be good, but it's
Oh,
not
I
going to
knew
get the job.
he's from a part of the world where they don't have the same kind of cautions as we do. David M Marr, I almost forgot about you because I can't see you. Crop top, is it okay?
No, I would say you got to dress professional.
Would you
Yeah.
blow if someone came in? If
the only
someone
exception
came
might
in
be-
with a good, wait a second, with a good resume and they had the skills you wanted, and she was wearing a crop top, would you knock her out?
Not necessarily, but I would coach somebody in advance, like Ernie said.
So you
way they
actually
know-
tell people in advance, well, here's something else. Virgin Airlines claims that their applications doubled since they've changed their grooming rules, and men can wear skirts, women can wear pants, and people in the cabin crew, they don't have to wear makeup anymore. And
Great.
tattoos are okay. But the thing that got the news was men can wear skirts. Does anybody want to comment on?
Yeah, yeah. How about ruining flying for the rest of us?
Okay. That's not what I was talking about.
The last thing we
okay.
want to see when we're sitting in a freaking business class seat is to see a man walk around in a skirt.
Hold
I'd
on
rather
a
see the
second.
lady
In
a
South
skirt.
Asia,
Animal.
in South
Hey,
Asia,
hey,
don't
listen,
men wear those wraparounds?
They wear sarongs, okay, but we do. It's not a skirt. There's a big difference.
No, there
All right.
isn't.
Yeah, it's-
No, there
and
isn't.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't like that myself. Okay, I
It's
prefer.
a
I don't mind
skirt.
wearing a kilt. That's cool, but I'm not Scottish. So that doesn't make sense.
Virgin's trying to recruit more Scots. That's why they opened it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
David's on point.
Okay. Am I finished with grooming? Grooming. Nobody wants to talk about that anymore. Okay.
No.
No, grooming matters.
Okay.
It always matters.
Have you
Does
seen that there's
anybody
two
want to talk
people at the
about
bottom
job
there
ads,
that
or should I
haven't said a
pass over
word
that
yet?
for now?
Animal?
What?
Have you seen this? Sasha and Travis are down there.
No, are they there?
Yeah,
Well,
they
I
are.
can see
They're
them, but
very
they don't
quiet.
seem to
That's
say
up to them
anything.
whether they want to come on show themselves or say something.
Yeah.
Travis, you're welcome to butt in. Travis Yeager, Yeager. He's an IT recruiter in Indiana, willing to work any territory in the United States of America. Okay, America. Okay.
American.
Okay, let me see. Okay, our good friend Tom Tuna, I'll talk about him even though he's not here. He was approached this week twice by people he screened a year ago. He set them up with his hiring managers, 2 people, and they ghosted. They didn't show. They were no show, no warning. Now, a year later, they're asking him to go back into the hiring process. He said no. Gavin, was he right? No forgiveness. No forgiveness. No, that's Gavin can't make up his mind. Why are you so forgiving? Why are you a nice guy?
Because for me, it will very much depend on circumstances and on the person. If you've got somebody, you don't know what happened with these people. You don't know what the circumstances were, and I've experienced situations where there was afterwards a good excuse. There was no good excuse for not saying anything, but there was an explanation behind it. And if that person can really bring added value to your client, you owe it to your client.
Okay, hold on a second. Your grandmother died for the 3rd time. At least tell me a month later when the funerals happen and your grieving is finished. But they didn't, right?
Yeah.
Ernie's a little
Still,
more
I'll be
mature than
careful.
you.
I'm
Ernie's
cautious.
a little older than you, and I think he's got a bit more wisdom. Am I right?
You're right. I have more wisdom.
Hey, Ernie's a godfather.
So what's
No
your
one can
opinion,
beat his
Ernie? Are you going to let these guys walk all over you again?
Not like Gavin. No, no, I'm just kidding. No, I think in the whole thing, you know, like if they don't show up, it's one thing. But the whole thing is communication. Did you tell me? Did you get back to me? Did you communicate? And if you didn't, and I don't care if your mother died, your father died, anything, you know, you got to tell me. And if you don't do that, then I don't want to deal with you.
Okay. Anybody else want to talk about it? Mario the Recruiter, Travis Yeager, David M Marr, Sasha, whoever. Anybody?
I
So-
totally agree with Ernie's point. Sorry about that, David.
No problem.
They need to communicate. Let anyone go. Let the world end for like, yeah. Give me
And
a
then-
call and tell me the world's ending.
And if he comes back to you a year later, you'll remember.
Bugger off. Simple as well. Simple as hell.
Woo!
I don't give a shit. I've
David
done
M.
that
Marr.
multiple times.
David
So
M.
when I-
Marr.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna
you-
answer
you
this
said
question
you wanted
two
to-
ways. So when I was in an agency, if somebody ghosted or was a no call, no show, and they didn't communicate, there was someone that I wouldn't work with again because your reputation's on the line. And the agents on the
Yeah.
corporate side, it's more forgiving. So I would say that, you know, if somebody had a legitimate reason, and they came back and they were able to articulate that to me, I would give them a second chance. But if they can't articulate and they feel like they're blowing smoke up my ass, then I would say no.
But if the first time around they were to show up for an interview and they didn't show up and you didn't hear from them for about a year, would you forgive them?
On the corporate side, yes. On the agency side, no, because your reputation's on the line.
Okay, well, you know what? In the corporate side, your reputation's on the line as well. Your hiring manager is going to say, "This Dave is a sucker." You know, he lets applicants or whatever walk all over him. I have to use some more judgment. I can't trust
Most of the
David.
people-
Okay,
Most of the people that I am working with they're passive. They're not actually in the job market applying to jobs.
Mhm.
They're exploring new opportunities, or trying to be passive, exploring the waters, if you will.
so they've got a right to abuse you because you're kind of begging them to take a look at this job. Is that what you're saying,
No, I'm
Dave?
not begging, first of all. I don't
Yes,
beg.
you are.
I
Okay.
don't beg.
Yes, you are. Let me move on to, I'm not finished with this. Okay, there's a guy named Mark. He told Tom, he says, just this week, I violated that rule about no forgiveness for people who ghost you and don't get back to you. He said, I let 3 people who did this to me come back. I rescheduled all 3, and guess how many showed up? Does anybody want to guess? None.
Zero.
Zero.
That was on point.
Okay, 0. Anybody else want to talk about that anymore? I think we delivered that message. We got the nice guys,
I just
David
want to say
and
something
Marr.
that I think is quite important on this one, is that it very much depends also how you look at your market, because me placing freelancers, these guys are going to circle back into the market over and over and over again in a much shorter period of time. And if I say
Hey, Elly.
they are banned, then I'm going to have a very much I'm going to be in the losing end of that. So I want to be very careful about how I approach these people.
Okay, hold on a second. Gavin has I'm going to bring in one of his wisdom sayings, okay? He says you should have a niche that's a little segment of the market, and it should be small, maximum 500 people, so that you can get to know a lot of those people on a regular basis. And also, he says this is what David Perry would call a force multiplier. Every call you make tells you more about that niche, because you're working in that same narrow field all the time. So you keep gathering more and more information about this concentrated area. But his point is always, hey, I become real buddies with my candidates. I know them. They trust me. They give me all kinds of information. If you're on such good terms with them, how could that even happen in the first place with a guy like you? Are you going to say that it would never happen with you anyway, because you guys, they have a relationship with you? Is that what you're going to say, Gavin? No, you're not.
Correct. I've never been ghosted.
Because
these people know me so well. I've never been ghosted. I've had a colleague who was ghosted by one guy, and this guy, it was the third time that his grandmother died. Like you just said, funnily enough, that was true. But I personally have never been ghosted.
Okay. Elly Cohen, she's looking for a job. Give yourself
Hi, Elly.
do you have a website, domain name, Elly?
LinkedIn, get Elly. Yeah.
GetElly.com? Is it GetElly.com?
No, LinkedIn, Elly, ELLY, Cohen, and recruiter, and I will come up.
You know what? Spend $25 or $20, whatever, and get HireElly.com and give it out on places like this where people can remember you, not Lincoln something or other. This is good advice, everybody. I'm not just scolding her, okay? I'm giving her free advice. Get Elly hired, or HireElly.com. Who's going to ever forget that?
I so disagree. And by the way, I'm a certified professional coach, been doing some career job search coaching since 2000.
Get to the point. Why do you disagree? What's your point?
It's horrible advice. Anything that takes from energy and time from what's going to get you to your target. And
horrible advice
wait,
to find me. I'm looking for a job, but I'm not going to make it easy for you, okay?
Okay, and you are sounding desperate and screaming, and
You're
that's
foolish.
not how I want to come across.
Let me tell you, you're foolish,
Which is
okay?
usual animal.
Huh? Oh, it is the animal show. Okay,
Yeah,
I
the usual
forgot.
animal show.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. No, I don't
Okay,
think there's
let's
anything
finish with your
effective
pitch. Let's
about
finish with your
making
pitch.
a new flyer.
Okay, and then let's finish with what kind of job are you looking for? Tell us.
I'm a senior recruiter. I worked in my target's kind of the corporate range of roles. Recruited for Splunk, salespeople, recruited for a company co-formed by Marriott, range of corporate roles.
What do you want?
Anything that falls into what I'm describing, that is what I'm wanting.
Corporate
And
recruiting
I'm open
position.
to corporate. I'm open to
What about
no, I'm
industry?
blanking. Contract, RPO, direct hire.
Not
whatever that
agency.
looks like.
Okay, her name is
Lemonade stand, I'm about to
Elly
set up
Cohen.
now.
Cohen. Elly
Yeah.
Cohen. Okay, don't
Recruiter.
go.
You'll find me. Elly with a
Elly.com
Y.
or EllyCohen.com. Those are too easy. Okay. Anybody want to comment with me? Now I'm the bad guy now. Okay, she'll go all over the Facebook group and say I'm a mean, nasty person. Who agrees with me and who agrees with her about that domain name? Anybody want to wager in?
I don't think you need a domain name. You just need to get your name out there.
Yeah, Ernie. I had to buy one for him, okay? Foodindustryrecruiter.com. I'm not a genius, okay? But that's smart, okay? That's smart.
Okay,
Anybody
let's
else
hear
want to
what-
comment?
Okay,
Okay, you've got Ernie.
I
You've got
appreciate
a
that.
heavyweight. You've got Ernie on your side.
I-
Gavin, with a guy I compliment all the time on his everythingaboutrecruitment.com. I remember his because he was smart enough to get a good domain name. Are you with me or Elly on this? Oh, he doesn't want to say. He's gutless.
No, give
I just
them
find it,
7
if every
seconds.
single candidate in the world had to go and create their own website, I think it'd just be too hectic. Keep them in LinkedIn. It's one place. It's easier for us
No.
recruiters.
No. Okay.
Two.
Anybody else want to comment? Anybody else?
I
No, no
think,
guts.
I think it can be advantageous to have your own domain name, because like, for example, in technology, a lot of the engineers have their own websites. And I guess it's probably an extension of them doing their daily work. But
Okay.
it's necessary for a recruiter. I know
Yeah,
some
okay.
recruiters that have it,
You know
but
what?
I think it helps get your
I'm
brand out
smarter
there.
than the average bear, I guess. Okay, not in everything, but certainly in this. Okay, you
I've
know what?
recruited for tech. Tech
Hold on,
people
hold on a
should
second.
be
Before
on
the show
technology.
started, David M Marr said he'd heard about this show for ages, but he couldn't find it. I said, well, why didn't you search recruiting animal on Google? Okay, you would have found it. He wasn't smart enough to do that. Now he's giving his advice about domain names. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Okay, here's a sad story, okay, from a recruiter in Canada. She says, I work for myself and I specialize in the food manufacturing sector. An old client of mine moved out of that sector, out of Ernie's sector, and moved into sheet metal, okay? And he asked me to search for a quality assurance manager. I began to learn about this new industry. You know, it was a lot of work for her to learn something new. And I found a good candidate. He was ready to make the offer. We wanted to get it approved by the head office. They decided that the role should be based out of New York instead of Canada, out of their New York office. So now they're working with a recruiter in the US. She's really upset and she wants to bill them for it. And she wanted to know, number one, if she can bill them, and number two, if there should be something in her contract. She's obviously a contingent recruiter. Elly, I see you're worked up about it. Do you want to comment?
We'll let others comment. I commented on the thread. It was
Okay.
a small thread, 8
Okay.
people.
And
max.
I have a comment. Anybody else want to comment?
I didn't bother commenting on the thread. I saw it and I thought, beginner's mistake. Stick to your niche.
So what should she have said to her old client? Find somebody else?
Yeah, of course. She spent so much time learning about something that she cannot use that information. Complete waste of time.
To sheet metal. She doesn't want to stay in sheet metal. She said that, right?
There you go.
So
There
how
you
would
go.
she put
Wait,
that? How would
Guys,
she
one
wait a
question.
second? Wait, no. I want to for Gavin in 1 second. How would she say that to her old buddy?
I do not want to be in sheet
Basically,
metal.
sorry, Ernie.
I do not want to be in sheet metal. Thank you.
Well,
Bye.
but what I would say is quite simple. I'd say, look, I bring you value because I know one niche. If you're going to ask me to now go and spread myself around, you're going to lose the whole value that I'm bringing to you. So
See, but
no, I'm not going to work
that's-
on that.
But that's the point where you can ask for an engagement fee or whatever. But really, you got to look at yourself and say, do I really want to do that? And if I'm not excited about doing it, then I don't do it.
So
Someone could throw you a job in your own niche. But if you're not excited about doing that job, don't do it. If it pays too little, if it's in the wrong location, whatever. But there are some
but I would
jobs,
say,
there are
if
some
you are
jobs.
excited about that other niche, don't do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if there's something that says, okay, I need a VP in LA, I'm on it. Let me look at it. You get excited about it, then do it. But
MaryLaRecruiter.com wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the manufacturing niche, and her niche is manufacturing, or
No, her niche
Even
is
if you-
food manufacturing. This is sheet metal manufacturing.
she's crazy to even attempt it. Simple as that.
What should she say to the guy hired a lot of people from her. Now he's moved somewhere
Okay.
else. What should she say to him?
He hired a lot of people from a good client. Now he has shifted. Thank you. Adios. Bye bye.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. She says, should I put something about this in my contract? I don't know what you like.
Yes.
If I work my ass off on this search and at the last
So-
minute you decide to change the spec,
What
you
I
still
would-
have to pay me even if you don't hire for me. Is that what she's thinking?
Is the contract contingent or is it a retained
Contingent.
contract? Then she
There
can't
was
ask
no
for shit.
contract, right?
So what I would have done if I was an agency still, I would have said that, this is outside of my normal spectrum. And I'd be willing to take it on, but do it like as a project where they're hiring you by the hour. That way your time is still compensated.
flat fee or hourly or, yeah.
But even so, as Ernie said, that might just be taking her away from her real money-making activity, right?
If she has so much
True.
business on her plate, then yeah, it would be foolish to focus on something outside of that. But if she's slow, or like a lot of recruiters I know are trying to find business right now,
Okay,
you take
that's
the
another
jobs that
story.
come your way.
Okay.
No, but that's probably very relevant because things probably were slow. I mean, things are slow in certain markets. I don't know about.
That
food
wasn't part of
manufacturing.
this story, okay?
No, but the point is, I mean, it's a factor. She was interested enough to do it. If she took a month to learn it, but if she said, I'm gonna, in 3 days, devour everything I can, interview people, whatever, learn the niche, she took that chance.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, you don't normally bill if it's contingent, unfortunately.
You
and
can't
we
build
all
it. Come on,
know-
you're gonna.
We all know
Elly,
factors can change.
Yeah, enough. Okay, final comment, Mary of the recruiter.com.
She cannot bill it, and she should have
Yeah,
as
she's
David
wrong.
suggested.
She's
opted
wrong.
for a
She
project.
got taken.
Simple as that.
Everybody agrees she was foolish. Okay, what about this? Here's an IT recruiter I respect. I don't know if I discussed this one before. I won't mention her name. She speaks in a way that I suspect she's a good recruiter. She's corporate. She says, I hate small talk so much. I'm like, hi, how are you? Okay, let's talk about interesting things now. She says that works with technical people. Salespeople make me want to jump off a bridge. So many words just to say nothing. Okay, so here she's saying two different things: that small talk is a waste of time, but with some candidates you have to do it. Is that right? Super Rich isn't here, and he advises talking about people's kids, and Gavin is a small talker as well. So we'll go to you first. What about what she said? Small talk sucks, Gavin.
Listening to you, there's two things that spring to mind. One, work with people that you can relate to and get on with. That's the first thing. And number two, small talk is all about the individual person. So if you've got a community that talks more, you're going to have more small talk. If you've got a community, for example, developers that talk less, you will have less of it. Adapt to your audience.
Yeah, I don't understand what he said. Anybody else want to talk about that? Anybody, or we can leave it? We can drop it and move on.
It's an old topic, animal.
He answered it.
Okay, I'm moving on.
He answered
Okay.
good.
Okay, fine. Yeah, he didn't answer it. Okay.
He answered.
Yes, he did.
Here's the thing. This guy said, he's a corporate recruiter. He says everybody wants candidates to meet with 10 people in their company. He might be exaggerating, but he means a lot. Okay. And so he immediately tells the hiring manager 3 tops. And the guy starts fighting with him. He said, look, would you want 10 interviews yourself? And that cuts the ground right out from under the hiring manager. Okay. The answer is always no, he says. He's very blunt about it. Is that what you want? 10 interviews? It's absurd. Anybody else want to talk about that? Do they run into that when there's the hiring manager wants them to meet too many people?
Is this guy a retained recruiter? Or is he?
No, he's on the inside, like David M Marr.
When you're in-house, I think part of your job is to be a talent advisor. And if you have a hiring manager that is accustomed to doing things a certain way, that is like let's say a 10-step interview process, that is ludicrous. And you're not going to find candidates, and you're wasting your time and their time and company time. So basically I would advise them against that. And I would structure an interview process that had probably 2 steps max, that would get right to the point where they know who they need to hire.
Okay, you stated that very well. Would you be that blunt with the hiring manager? This is ludicrous.
I'm a direct data-driven person. So I'll take a look at the
What
data.
does data-driven mean? I saw somebody else asking, sorry, I'm going to go.
She
said, no. She said, I want to be a data-driven recruiter. Please tell me how. And I said to myself, what is a data-driven recruiter? You go ahead and tell me.
Means you're researching, you research things, you analyze the data that you have internally. So in corporate side, there's a lot of internal hiring metrics and things like that. And I could pull data and basically lay out the case to the hiring manager that with this many steps in the process, you're going to lose you're not going to be able to close candidates in the time that you want. And over here, they use these 2-step process, and these are the results they had before and after. And based upon that, if they don't decide,
Wow, that's a lot of study. I mean, you have to do a lot of research to come up with those figures.
Easier than you think. it's a matter of just looking at your corporate metrics, pulling down your ATS data, interview data, and putting it into a spreadsheet and just laying it out in a format that's easy for them to consume.
Anybody else want to talk about being data driven? Is anybody else going to claim they're data driven here? I got a feeling some people are. Anybody? No?
Mario
Pass?
is.
No.
Yeah, to a level. I do depend on data, but not.
No, I
In
was
every
thinking it would
sense.
be Gavin would say he's data driven. Okay. But,
Or going back to the 10 steps, there's things to be said about that.
oh,
That's
you
too
want,
long.
you want 10 interviews? Is that what you're saying, Ellie? You want me
No,
to start
I-
yelling at you again? Is that what you're looking for?
Don't be yelling at me. I know.
I like this show. I like to tell people they're wrong.
And
Okay.
you didn't yell at David Marr though. I was like, oh. look how
David
he's
Marr
letting
said
him
something
say
reasonable.
fine.
I yelled at him before. He didn't know how
Yeah.
to find the recruiting animals show. It's insane. Okay.
I
No, we
will
don't,
say-
we don't, we don't know if David is.
There's so many
Platform that was
times.
on. Because it was more like a podcast or something.
Hold on.
before.
She wants to explain why a 10-step interviews program is
10
good.
steps
No,
are crazy,
10 steps
Elly,
is
on any account.
never acceptable. But I did just talk to someone who had 9, and I'm gonna dig into like why and probably coach her.
Yeah.
But
okay.
no, I mean, I worked for a name brand company and they had 5, 6 steps and a test.
Yep.
But I think if you set, and I think that's pushing it, but I think if you set expectations up front, but you also absolutely have to influence the manager. I mean, if it weren't for it being that company, and it being planned
This
out.
fits into
And
the
normally-
category. If you don't have any
Normally, I
work
would
on your
say
desk and
4
you're
to-
desperate, you'll go with a company that has that.
Normally, I'd
6
say
interviews.
4 or 5. and you wanna plan it out.
MarioTheRecruiter.com. MarioTheRecruiter.com, please.
Elly,
What do you have
sorry.
to say?
I have a question. What kind of role was it for them to interview for 10 steps?
I don't know. He said they all want it all the time. That's what he was
They're
saying.
freaking mental. That's not a company to ever work for.
But I think
Simple
you're,
as that.
you're right, Mario. You have to ask. We don't ask enough when people throw out scenarios. What's the role? What's the level? I mean,
Yeah, I
yes,
can
is this
understand
a
if it's a role that
CEO.
builds the company. Yeah, CEO, okay.
We're finished with this.
If it's an
Okay, we all got the
analyst-
point. We all got the point. I want to move now to one of Gavin's acts of genius. Okay, this is a show where I'm complimenting him. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
and
Look at
actually,
his facial expression.
this is one of the
This is why
things.
he keeps on coming on to the animal show.
Gavin, you need to change your name to Gavin the Genius.
Okay, this is one of the things that when they say content marketing allows you to demonstrate to your market that that you know something and you're worthwhile dealing with. I think he's done. I don't know if he's getting anything from these groups, but I think he's doing that well. Here's what he says. He says, ask your client how they're going to measure your work. I'd never heard of that before. He says, few recruiters, not many recruiters, ask the hiring manager right from the start how they're going to measure the quality of the recruiter's work. Okay. You want to talk about that, Gavin, or should I do a little more reading?
Or should he yell at you?
Do you want to talk about it? Everything about recruitment.com?
Isn't it self-explanatory?
I've never done it. Anybody else say how you're going to measure if I'm successful? If they make a hire, that's the obvious thing.
Yeah, but there's much more to it, and it's on an individual hiring manager basis because everybody sees things in different lights and has different priorities. Obviously, you want the right person in there, but it's the whole process that needs to be looked at.
I don't know.
Gavin, I
He's
totally
ruining
agree.
it. I built him up and now he's ruining it.
Hold
Okay.
it. Animal, no. Gavin is on point. I agree with his point here. It depends on the
What was
person's
his point?
perspective.
I don't know what his point was.
On what is successful. Simple as that.
I want to
It
see
depends
10
on the
people.
person's
I
perspective.
want you to bring me
No.
10 good people.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is your
But Animal, look
expectation?
at it
What
this
does
way.
that look
You
like?
might say, I want to have 10 resumes, and another hiring manager will say, I only want 3. You're going to say to the person who wants 10, why do you want the 10? Why is this important for you? You're going to understand. And then you're going to explain to them that it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
But at least
obviously.
you understand what's going on in their minds, because at the end of the day, they are your biggest marketing machine. You want them to be happy with the service you're offering,
Yeah.
specifically them.
Okay.
And that's why you've
But
got
as
all
even
these questions
David
you're
M.
gonna
Marr
ask to each
said, you have to
individual
tell them,
hiring
you have to
manager.
tell them what service they're going to get. Now, when the thing you just said is you're drawing out their expectations, but really only so you can shoot them down. Okay. Am I right about that?
If it's necessary, yes.
That's devil's advocate.
The kind of the crazy part about this whole hiring stuff is they tell you what they want, right? The hiring manager, this is what I want. I want A, B, C, and D. You find them a person that has everything they have, the ideal candidate. And that's the first one you send them. And then the manager says, I need to see 2 more people. Why the hell do you need to see 2 more people? It's what
But
you
you forgot
want.
to ask the crucial question. The crucial question being, so if I find this person, will you move forward?
Yeah, but I mean, even so, they will say, yeah, sure. And then they'll turn around and say, but I need 2 more people. But my point is, why do they need 2 more people?
Because they've been taught that. And so, yes, you're right. You need to come back with, let's get clear on what you're looking for, in whatever words you're using. And if we find them, you need to be ready to move forward because, we're going to lose this person if I find 2 more.
Yeah, but I think for the most part, a lot of times they're not, even though they told you what they want, they're not certain of what they want. They're not confident in what they want.
Well, that's
Yeah,
exactly
so
it.
it
It's
may
a
need
lack of
confidence.
talking
confidence.
through again, what is this person going to be doing and what do they need?
And they
No,
need
be able to
I don't
do
really believe that I know very much about recruiting, but when I hear what other people say, I do. Okay. Ernie's 100% right. The thing is, you bring in somebody that's good and they want to see 2 more people. Buzz off. Okay. I'm lucky I found this guy for you. The question is how to deliver it to them. And with Gavin is, look, you have to ask them up front. If I bring you the right person right off the bat, are you going to be ready to move forward? And but then if they say, they tell you in advance, no, I want to see 3 people. Do you kick them out right then? And what words do you use to say, I'm not working with you if you're going to be
guide them.
ridiculous?
You use those closing, always be closing, ABC. You have structured questions that capture data that then you can use to help guide the conversation and help them get to the ideal best practice based upon your industry.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't understand a word you said. Okay. Let's go to Ernie since he was saying one person. Okay. Food, one, you bring in one good person. He says, Ernie, I want to see 2 more people. What are you going to say to him? The exact words I want to know.
Isn't this what you wanted? Tell me what this guy doesn't have. Tell me what this guy doesn't have. It's exactly what you wanted. So were you lying to me? I mean, shit, this is it. This is a guy. So let's do this. Let's get him in there. Let you interview him. You talk to him, spit him around, have him talk to whoever he's going to talk to. And then you tell me. In the meantime, I'll be looking for somebody, but bring him in for an interview.
There's
No, you're changing your story. You've already sent the guy in. He loves him, but then he tells you to go find 2 more people just like that.
Excuse me, but do I look to find 2 more people? I don't know. I want to get feedback on this guy because in the process of looking for 2 more people,
You already got the feedback. He's a good candidate. Okay, you're changing the story. Anybody else want to talk about it anymore? Ernie's blowing it.
Giving you reality.
Ellie,
get-
don't give Ellie a chance. Okay, go ahead.
Well,
I'll tell you what.
I
I
sorry,
amplify what Ernie
Be
said.
succinct. Go ahead.
I amplify what Ernie said. And I've been in this exact situation. When I sent someone who was a gem and they all met that person and said, we love them. And can you send more? And I said, I need to understand what it is you are not seeing in her experience because she has all the criteria that we discussed. So please let me know what you would be looking for that she does not have. And they were quiet for 2 days. And then they came back and said, the whole team discussed this and we agree she's astonishing and we want to move forward with an offer.
The other thing that hasn't been mentioned that could be coming into play is sometimes companies have diversity hiring initiatives. Like if you do with business with the federal government in the US and you're like a government contractor, you have to
bringing in some other factors. I'm going to tell you what just came to mind for me. Okay. When people talk
David, he doesn't
about
want to hear anything else.
That's
Mario, okay, hold on. When people talk about porn addiction, they say what's happening is that serotonin, the porn generates serotonin, which always
Feel-good
initiates
hormone.
your desire to see new things. And so if you bring in a good candidate, that's like good porno, and they want to see more. It's you never get satisfied. I'm not
So
kidding.
So animal, this is a new name, a new genre of porno, candidate porno.
Yeah, candidate porn. You're right,
but-
exactly.
So I'm gonna start a group called Recruiting Porn.
Okay.
We're two for two
I think
on
what
the
Animal
I've
has just
attended
said
where we bring up.
basically is
Wait a
that the
second.
recruitment industry is a subdivision of the porn industry.
No,
Thanks,
but the
Animal.
same.
So-
But hold
Hey,
on,
it's
the
the same
same
thing, Gavin.
psychology is happening there. You see something
Yeah, that's
good, you want more, even though you don't need more.
Okay,
it's-
so Animal, what you do is then you send them to other candidates that you know aren't equally as qualified. There you go. There's your
They're
two
not as
candidates.
they're not as sexy. Okay.
They're-
Ernie, that's what I would do as well.
Or if you know them well enough, you know they're gonna do that, then you send in the two that aren't as qualified, then the third
Would
one you-
anybody walk away from a company after, or you know, it might be different if you're corporate, but would what if they're insisting on go get more, and you know this is a really great hire? Would anybody walk away from them?
Well, first of all, I would say this. Am I the only recruiter? And if I'm not the only recruiter, you have my one candidate. Have your other people have the other recruiters?
And what if you are the only recruiter?
Then you need to be not as foolish or not stupid enough to realize that you are. If you're doing contingent, you should know there are other people.
Yeah, I
Would
don't
you
do
walk
that.
away? Yeah. Would you walk away from the search? That's what I think you should walk away. If you bring a good person, they say, I'm not ready to
Well,
hire. I want to
You
see
don't,
more.
you don't officially walk away. You probably don't work it as
You know
hard.
what? I don't. Well, okay, I'm not. I'm either working the search. I'm not going to
Right.
make you think that I am
Then-
not.
then you
I'm.
don't
Oh
know-
yeah,
then you
I'm
don't
on your
know-
search, and no, I'm not. Not. It's not
Then
doing anything.
Then you don't know what you're doing because.
I
what you
don't
should
know what
have-
I'm doing. Okay,
That's
I
what
tell you all the
I'm trying-
time.
I'm
I'm a
trying to-
mediocre recruiter.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
I just
so
happen to
become the
disagree with
animal
all the
circus.
What you
geniuses
should
here.
do is have
And
10 other
after I
searches.
tell you how smart they are, they try to prove that they're not. Okay, sorry.
So you should have 10 other searches that you're working anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, final question on that. You know, our friend Amy always puts her managers in their place. I like that. So I wonder what she would say. Yeah, I'm willing to put into this her classic statement in the 10 rules of recruiting. I'll put into this what you put into it, right? And so I wonder if she would say,
Amy.
look, I found you the right guy. Yeah, just like I'll pull an Ernie. I'll work on other hiring manager's search. I think that's what she might say. Anybody else want to talk about this before we move on to something new?
I would say that also you need to make sure that if they have an unrealistic expectation, that you're bringing them down to reality. Some people, for example, that work in small companies have a horrible reputation. They're like a C player and they want to hire A players. You have to let them set the expectation and say, listen, you're not an A company. You're a B company, you're whatever letter, and you're not going to attract top talent. You're going to have to settle for the C
But
squad. The best you're going to be able to afford.
that's beautiful, David.
And you better drop the truth, give them the reality. Here's the data behind it. You don't agree with me? Look at your Glassdoor reviews. Look at your Vault.com reviews. Look at your Indeed reviews. Your
Whoa.
company sucks.
Dave, are you saying she's out of your league?
No, I'm saying that I would bring them down to reality and I would use data to make my point, and I would be professional but direct.
Okay. In
We're
other words,
consultants, not
You sound
order
mad. You
takers.
sound mad right now, though.
yeah, he is mad. He says, you're lucky to get this
Furious.
candidate, okay?
He's
You're
yelling. at
lucky,
me.
you dope, okay? That's what he's saying. Does anybody have an issue that they want to discuss? It's wide open. Mario, is there something you want to talk about? There's something burning that's been going on in your recruiting business that you
Whiteboarding. He wants to talk about whiteboarding.
Okay, well, that's what you're doing to these hiring managers. They need it.
Look behind him. He's got one. He can talk
Oh,
about it.
okay.
Put around in your chair and whiteboard for us.
Draw a
Okay.
picture.
Anybody got a topic?
Nothing
Look,
much
it's wide open. I'm even for the disembodied people who are here.
Okay, fine. Let me ask you, how's the recruiting game going on nowadays? Any
What does that
slowdowns
mean?
anywhere?
Ask a real
I
question.
mean, how's the
not
business
something
going
vague.
nowadays?
You know there's a
How's the business-
recession coming. People are whining. They
thought
laid
we're
off
already in
13% of the workforce. Facebook.
Oh, screw the layoffs. That's
laid off.
normal.
No, it isn't. That size.
That's normal.
Look,
It's
uh,
every economic cycle it happens.
Okay, let me bring up something. That one comment about the person that wrote, she feels really bad because she had brought these people to the
You should
company.
set that up. Yeah, this recruiter posted on Twitter that she feels sick to her stomach because when she was at Twitter, she brought in all those people. Now they're caught up in the mess. And Ernie posted something, and she I think she commented back to you. Someone went and snitched that they were talking about her. She wasn't a member of the group. Ernie, what did you say? Go ahead.
I don't remember. I just know that if you're working in that environment, she went out and she got her own job and you feel bad. You know, if you're in the recruitment, if you're in corporate, you accept any corporate, you're going to lay off people, you're going to hire people, you're going to do all that. So get over it. And you know, and I think I look at people and I think they want to make it about themselves. You know, I've had people when I was a VP of HR, I had my hiring manager sit next to me and the person got laid off or got fired and the hiring manager starts crying. After that's all over, I get her and I tell the hiring manager, you know what the hell's wrong with you? It's not about you. You know, that person just lost their job. You still got a good title. You're still
They
working.
weren't crying for themselves, Ernie. Oh my gosh.
No, but I mean,
You think the hiring manager was crying for themselves because the person got let go?
Listen, Elly, she was crying. The person that was getting fired was comforting her.
Oh,
Jesus, talk about a shitstorm. That's a shitstorm in the making.
And then you just say, how can you make it about yourself? I'm sorry that I'm letting you go.
That's so narcissistic, I swear to God.
It's all right, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Okay, what the hell's wrong? We should be taking care of that person. That person has no job right now.
and I don't know, I didn't see the conversation. So hopefully that person did turn around and say that, and we're getting an edit of saying, no, it's about you, and let's see how I can help you. And
she didn't do that. She just kept crying.
So that's unfortunate, but that person who posted that, can I understand someone who's hired a bunch of people that were let go and feel sad? Yes, I've been in that situation.
But I guess my point is this. It's one thing when they're all let go. The second stage is when you have to tell them. You're the person saying, I'm letting you go. And the upper stage is when you have to decide who goes. And I've been in all of those three situations.
Okay, let me bring some focus here. I think the question is, for a recruiter, if you bring someone into a company and it turns out the company goes south or something terrible happens, even if the manager leaves, you know what, I love this manager, you're going to love working with her. And as soon as the candidate comes in, the manager takes a new job, goes somewhere else. So something really negative happens after you place somebody. I hear Ernie saying, look, that's life, you know, don't worry about it. Does anybody have an opinion about their reaction, what they would do in that?
Can we ask Sensitive Rich as to what he would say?
Yeah, this should be good.
Listen, Sensitive Ernie, I mean, listen, you just said it. It's business. You know, you can't control what's going to happen. And by the way, I missed the very beginning of this conversation. So, but listen, all you can do is what you do. You can't control these.
Okay, so go ahead, Elly.
The part B to my thoughts are, aside from feeling for those people, if you brought them in, you felt a real connection and pulled for them as but some of those folks, on the other hand, they've been there 2-3 years. They have FANG histories. They have the perfect history that hiring managers want, no more than 3 jobs in 10 years, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to do fine. They're going to get huge attention, and all these folks are rallying to support them, but we have a whole bunch of other people who've worked for non-brand people, don't have those histories, and there isn't the visibility and pulling for those. So
it's for the Twitter, Rich. Anybody else want to talk about that? Gavin is quiet lately. You have anything to say about feeling bad? Have you ever placed somebody in a company where it didn't work out? Mind you, you're with contract people, so it's different, right? They can just move to another
tell
contract.
people that the assignment's not being extended, of course, on a regular basis, you know? So, yeah.
Well, hold on a second. Well, hold on. You mean, you said, okay, you got 6 months there or 30 days and it turns out to be 10 days, or what are you talking about?
No, but at time of extension, typically it's 3 months rolling contracts.
Uh-huh.
So you might have a contract, a project that lasts. And
yeah, but they know that it might not work out from the start. There was no rug pulled out from under them in that situation.
But
you're still putting somebody out that has to go and find a new job.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line, it stinks, but that's life. I mean, no one can control what's going to happen. I mean, everyone adult decisions.
These are the Darwinians on this side,
on
that side of the screen. They're Darwinian guys. cares, you know?
I mean, it sucks, but it's happened to all of us. We've all placed people at, the company changed or didn't work or someone left. I mean, how many times someone going to work for a friend and then their friend leaves 2 months later? I mean, it happens all the time.
Then the boss from hell comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. But I mean, it's
Or
when
it
you
doesn't work out with the friend.
there is never a guarantee in a job. And what you really got to do is focus to the future, and you got to tell somebody there's a reason why this happened. But if you go into a job thinking I'm in here forever, then you might as well work for the government.
Yeah.
Because, don't stay out of the corporate world, because that's the name of the game. It's like you go to work for the NFL, you play for the NFL, and you think, you know what, I'm gonna be here. I'm a professional athlete. I'm gonna be here the rest of my life. No bullshit. You be there.
This is why I like startups. You should be more than a number. You're at a company, you're a number. You're at a big company with 5,000 employees. Like my neighbors run some big company. I know more people at his company than he does. I mean, it's just the reality.
But you also know that there's a risk with startups, right?
There's a risk to everything.
Yeah, there's always a risk.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's a follow-up question.
Layoffs and startups do layoffs.
It would help if you've got a bit of a sociopathic kind of mentality if you're a recruiter. No, seriously, you
You
don't
have
feel
to be
bad. I mean, you don't
recruiter.
feel guilty, right? If something happens, it's just like Ernie and Rich. They're they're real Americans. That's business, okay?
I think
It's not
my
about
only
you.
Yes, but
It's
we're
not
sensitive,
about
we're
you, the
sensitive.
individual person. It's about your role in any case.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't feel personally guilty.
Yeah. I mean,
No, I just think there's room, a little room for empathy in addition to having that perspective that
But there may
you don't
be-
have
but
40-year
Elliot,
careers.
would you? I mean,
I agree
why would
with
the
you,
candidate?
but
why would
Ernie
the
was
candidate
still going
no-
on about crying and stuff. Huh? That's a
Yeah.
bit of a different level of
Yeah,
empathy,
and I mean, why? How can a candidate? I mean, listen. No one wants it to happen. All right, so
Right.
there's empathy, but reality is, no one should be mad at you or I or any recruiter. Like I always use the example. It's like being mad at the priest when you get divorced. I'm like, he just brought you together. That's all we did. We didn't set anything up. We didn't put anything in place. We made an introduction. Everyone used adult intelligence to make a decision.
The down and dirty of it is, if that didn't happen, we wouldn't have a job.
Bingo. Exactly.
feel
Again,
jealous.
and maybe a part of it again, especially if you're talking about working at a major brand 2-3 years, it may just be knowing individuals and their dreams, like they were finally about to be made a manager. It's the stories that you may feel for that now that person,
Yeah.
and that's all I'm saying. There's space for feelings, but knowing,
Moving on to the last question. So the show's almost over. We're beating this one to death. Okay. What about this
Literally.
section? I'm going to call it tone on the phone. I've got a long quote from Rich. I'll save that for another time. Okay. But there's a shorter one that Rich actually liked. He liked it. Cold callers have to watch their tone of voice. You cannot sound really nice. You're there to do business, so don't sound like a puppy dog or super friendly. Okay, they won't take you seriously if you're
Downward
trying to
tone.
lick their face. Okay, Rich, over to you first.
Yeah, you want to have downward tones. If you're always talking with the big up tone, like, oh, I'm so excited, someone's actually talking to me, no one's going to take you serious.
Okay, actually, I have to quote Rich here. I said I wouldn't. Rich says the key to successful cold calling is the energy and excitement in your voice. He's contradicting himself right now. He said,
no, they're not.
Wait,
Be
Rich, I
excited.
have a question. Rich, I have a question.
Hang on. You could be excited without sounding like a cheerleader. You could be like, like now I've been starting to make a lot of videos, and you know what?
That's not what
And
you said.
The videos, you're excited, you're talking fast, you're loud, but you're talking in a tone where, it commands a little respect instead of being like, oh my God, this guy's fantastic,
no, now he's a Valley girl. Mario, you want to ask Rich a question?
Rich, when you're doing a cold call, okay, and you're leaving a voicemail, how do you sound on the voicemail?
I sound just like it's super short. Hey, this is Rich. We'll follow up on an email. That's it.
Okay,
Just like that.
all right, that's awesome. Okay, cool. That's the correct tone to use. I mean, hey, it's Rich. Give me a call back.
No, what did he say? This is
Hi.
Rich. I sent you an email. Is that what
Following
he
up
said?
on an email,
there are notes Rich going, hi, this is Rich.
Yeah, please call me.
Yeah.
Please,
See,
This is
please,
Sorry,
Rich
I mean-
Rosen.
Rich, Rich, my biggest question was, how is the tonality on your voicemail? Very cool, right? Chilled out.
Yeah, it's you act like you've been there before. You act like you've done this a few
Expect
times.
to get it.
It all comes down to having confidence.
Well, that's it.
Because
I mean,
Because-
you know, I always take the attitude in the back of my mind that if I do my job right, I am making way more money than anyone I'm talking to on the phone. All right, which is
Sure.
generally true. And so why shouldn't I act confident? Even if I'm not confident, it doesn't matter. You have to act it, you know?
Did- Rich, do you set up a website that says rich.com, hire me? Sorry, throw back to earlier in the
Okay,
call.
you know what? He
They
never
should.
agree. I always expect Rich to agree with me. He never
Never.
does. But this is what we had a big argument with at the beginning of the show. She's looking for a job. Okay. So she should go. I told her she should go buy a domain, get hire Elly or getelly.com. Okay.
And
Nice.
everyone
Gee, you
disagreed.
you'd never forget it, you know,
Well, you
and
know what?
point it to her LinkedIn
I-
profile.
hang
Okay.
on,
Go
I
ahead.
won't even disagree with you because I just talked to who was it? Was it it was a trainer. I was on the trainer I was talking to, and they were telling this story where this guy would go and buy domains. Like if he was calling Joe Schmo, he would buy the domain joeschmo.com. And then he would call the guy up and say, listen, this company really wants you, and go check out like yourname.com. And like the whole job description's there and everything else.
I love it.
You know, I mean, it's super.
Well, it
crazy
depends
to
what
do.
type of target
expensive.
recruiting
Yeah,
is the goal.
yeah. But I
I'm
mean,
about to have to go back to work for my own business if I can't
that's
find
a good
something
thing.
soon.
You
Which
should be excited to
Listen,
do that. You
yeah,
make more money.
see? What's wrong with going back to your own business? Heck, I would die if I had to go back to a job
Lots of
now.
people don't like it.
because I'm a great recruiter, but I have not figured out the BD.
No,
Well, follow my
recruiter.
training.
Heck, we're all
All
in the
sorted.
meeting.
You're
Gavin's
sorted,
got a whole
Elly. Just follow
program.
my
Help
training.
me.
This is
I've
gonna
told
get
you that
shitty.
before.
Okay.
Gavin's gonna give you 50% off. There you go.
Yes.
Actually,
Hold on a
we've
minute,
had
hold
some
on a minute.
experience.
Let's start
Richard, screw Gavin.
negotiating margins here.
No, he's gonna do it for free.
Yeah, Rich, how
He's
much
gonna do
can
it
he
for
give
free.
me?
Yeah, oh, Ernie's even better. He has made an offer she can't refuse.
Yeah.
No, Gavin's gonna do it for free. He's a pro.
Gavin,
I even
send
heard
the bill to Ernie.
Next week, Gavin's gonna do a whole session on BD on the show, right? Right, Animal?
No, you know what? We've got a special guest, Dean DeCosta's coming on next
Oh,
week.
excellent.
Oh, that'd be
Okay.
nice.
If somebody has,
Wait. Let me ask this question. Are you gonna yell at him?
of course,
Nobody.
if he
yells.
doesn't give a good answer, if you give a good answer, I have
I
nothing to
wanna
yell
see
about.
that.
You don't yell at the dean.
Dean's
Yeah,
been on a
man.
few times, okay? Dean's been on
God
before,
knows.
and he asked me to come on. And I was telling David M Marr, you know, I'm going to show another side of Dean DeCosta. So we'll, you know, it's not going to be like he's telling us from heaven how to do sourcing, okay? We'll ask for nitty gritty stuff, and then we'll talk about recruiting because he calls people too. We want to see how he talks to people, not just super rich, okay? And now I'm going to introduce everybody because we're going to sign off. Super Rich Rosen, raise your hand. Cornerstonesearch.com, number 11. His horse race is coming up in a couple of months.
It
Gavin, okay, I praise him to the skies, okay? Everything about recruitment.com, raise your hand, okay? Food industry recruiter, Barney Colors, purple.com, MarioTheRecruiter.com, raise your hand. Elly Cohen, Cohen, Elly is her first name. No domain name. Look up Lincoln Elly Cohen or some kind of nonsense and you'll find her, okay? She's looking for a recruiting job and she's been in the business for a long time. Our good friend David M Marr, corporate recruiter. Travis, I think was here. Travis Yeager, Yeager. He's an IT recruiter in Indiana looking for work as well. Was there anybody else? Was Sasha Tesanovic
Sasha.
here?
Sasha's quiet.
Sasha.
She's quiet today. Okay, well, I guess she's
Yeah.
sleepy. Oh, why didn't you show yourself? Okay, do you have
Sasha,
anything
we
you'd
could have
like
used
to
you.
say?
We need the testosterone balance. We're
No.
working
Yeah,
on it.
definitely.
No. We like the boys club. We like the boys club.
No.
Part of why I showed up, I've been watching the pictures for the last 2 weeks. I'm like, we need balance.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay,
then
Sasha.
and probably
That
wound up
balance.
talking about empathy.
Yeah.
Just
Empathy.
saying,
True
great job
empathy.
representing here.
Okay, there's no, sorry, empathy is the wrong word. I don't know why people have
No,
forgotten the
empathy
word
is for the
sympathy.
weak.
Sympathy.
Okay,
sympathy.
sympathy is
Mary.
really what they mean. Okay, Sasha, you get the final word. Is there something you want to say?
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Okay, there, everybody.
That's
Thanks
a
very
short
much. Next week, Dean DaCosta. Bye-bye.